And I think that there are so many different possible scenarios that it's impossible for us to sit here and be confident in how we think this is going to play out. I think that Julian really has more going for him right now than we realize. First of all, I'm confident in his legal representation. I'm also confident with the notion that once he gets to the United States, if he gets to the United States, there's going to be a parade of some of the best attorneys in Washington lining up to defend him, probably pro bono. And I'll tell you right now, I am thrilled to introduce him to my own lawyers, most of whom were pro bono and who the Washington Post called legal titans in criminal defense. So I feel like Julian's going to be in good hands. As tough as the courtroom would be if he gets here and appears before Leonie Brinkema, I think he's going to be okay.
John, let me ask you about Chelsea.
Yeah.
First of all, the indictment is a lot about her as well.
Yes.
Yes, a lot.
It portrays her as someone who's merely a source at Assange's behest, that she wouldn't have done this without Assange encouraging her to break the law by revealing this information. Now, she issued a statement, and she said this after the indictment: "I continue to accept full and sole responsibility for those disclosures in 2010. It's telling that the government appears to have already obtained this indictment before my contempt hearing last week. This administration describes the press as the opposition party and an enemy of the people. Today, they use the law as a sword and have shown their willingness to bring the full power of the state against the very institution intended to shield us from such excesses." Now, the indictment also says that she had legal access to the computers in connection with her duties as an intelligence analyst. And then it goes on to say that they admit that they didn't succeed in getting this password, but it says had Manning retrieved the full hash password and had Assange and Manning successfully cracked it, Manning may have been able to log onto computers under a username that did not belong to her. Such a measure would have made it more difficult for investigators to identify Manning as the source of the disclosures of classified information. Here, the government is exactly admitting that Assange was only practicing journalism by trying to protect her identity. This was all about her identity. They're admitting that in this indictment. Now, what I want to ask you, John, is what happens to her now? The indictments come out. Why is she still in jail?
Just because this is how they plan to screw her. Because she refuses to testify, she can sit there on a contempt of court charge until the end of this grand jury. It seems like the grand jury's over unless there really is another superseding indictment on the way. In which case she'll have to sit there until the grand jury is actually done. But I don't think that's the case. I think they're dragging their feet in letting her go. I want to make a point too, Joe. You are exactly correct that they have essentially admitted that Julian is a journalist and a publisher. They've also offered literally zero evidence to indicate that it was Julian that tasked Chelsea Manning with stealing this information and bringing it out. That never happened. Nobody's ever accused Julian of tasking Chelsea Manning. We know the whole Chelsea story. Chelsea downloaded the information, sent it to a middleman who ratted her out, but not before she had sent it on to Julian. And sure, there was conversation back and forth. As you said, it was Julian doing what any other journalist in America would do, tasking Chelsea with clarifying information or additional information. But there's literally no evidence whatsoever.
Well, they tried to say that they tried to point out that Assange had, and WikiLeaks had published a wish list of things they'd like sources to come forward and give them. And there's about 99 things on that list. And Chelsea provided 4 of them. I can't remember now who it is, but a lawyer, someone said that I think he may have been her lawyer during her trial, her court-martial, said that she's a pretty lousy employee of WikiLeaks if she only came up with 4 out of the 99 things they were seeking.
Yeah,
4%. Almost 4%, yes.
Yeah, agreed. And that's why the more I play over this in my own head, the more I realize that this case isn't all that it's cracked up to be. You know, it's so easy for us, even those of us who know from experience that the government throws everything into these indictments. When you read the indictment, you know, your initial reaction is to say, oh my God, look at all this information, until you really start thinking about it. And then you realize, no, this really is what Judge Brigham called window dressing. There's nothing here. There are a lot of accusations, but there's a big difference between accusing somebody of something and proving it.
About the what's going on with Chelsea Manning, to me, it seems fairly obvious that just about every constitutional provision is being violated in this treatment. I mean, I don't see how we're not violating habeas corpus by imprisoning her indefinitely. We're not violating the amendment against cruel and unusual punishment, the 8th Amendment. There's the 5th, the 6th, and the 14th Amendments, all of which are being violated. She's essentially being held, detained indefinitely in order to force her to give evidence that she doesn't want to give. I mean, there's an awful lot of constitutional provisions that are being violated here. I mean, you know, I'm just puzzled that, you know, there haven't been more constitutional lawyers stepping forth and saying, look, we really have to challenge this.
Well, speaking about people stepping forth, we also had, just as we've been, you know, on this vigil, both Tulsi Gabbard and Berni Sanders have both come out against this these ridiculous charges against Assange. Tulsi was much more vocal about it than Berni Sanders was, but still, that's adding to all of the hundreds of statements yesterday, including, obviously, as we talked about earlier, Maddow.
What did Berni Sanders say? Because we've all been waiting for Sanders to say something. What did he say? Do you have his?
Yeah, I can bring that up in just a second. Yeah. Why don't you go right ahead? I just got it.
This is Bernie's speech. He says, quote, "Let me be clear. It is a disturbing attack on the First Amendment for the Trump administration to decide who is or is not a reporter for the purposes of a criminal prosecution. Donald Trump must obey the Constitution, which protects the publication of news about our government," unquote.
Tulsi said, quote, "Charging Assange under the Espionage Act will have serious chilling effect on our most fundamental rights of freedom of speech and freedom of the press. Every American, certainly every journalist, must strongly condemn this anti-democratic act by the Trump administration."
Here's what Maddow had to say. And these new charges are not about stealing classified information or outsmarting computer systems in order to illegally obtain classified information. It's not about that. These new charges are trying to prosecute Assange for publishing that stolen secret material, excuse me, which was obtained by somebody else. That is a whole different kettle of fish than what he was initially charged with. By charging Assange for publishing that stuff that was taken by Manning, by issuing these charges today, the Justice Department has just done something you might have otherwise thought was impossible. The Justice Department today, the Trump administration today, just put every journalistic institution in this country on Julian Assange's side of the ledger, on his side of the fight, which I know is unimaginable, but that is because the government is now trying to assert this brand new right to criminally prosecute people for publishing secret stuff, and newspapers and magazines and investigative journals and all sorts of different entities publish secret stuff all the time. That is the bread and butter of what we do. I would contest only that we bit. I don't know what she's done in that regard as a journalist, but we should invite her on the next Vigil, Liz. What do you think? I think she's now got it. She's saying the stuff we've been saying all along. This is her new thing, and to have her on this side, despite what we all may feel about her, is very important.